All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started. I know that for a lot of folks, it's a really busy time and it's lunchtime and you're trying to grab things and go and get back into your normal routine of the day. So we'll go ahead and get started. So welcome to the Emergency and Security Studies admissions webinar with the School of Professional Advancement. My name is Amanda Hassan, and I'm the Director of Academic Advising here at SOPA. And I'm the advisor for the graduate programs in Homeland Security Studies, Emergency Management, and Security Management. And we also have an undergraduate advisor who is not with us today, Mr. Dan Ray. But either of us are able to answer any questions you have when it comes to your advising, some of your advising needs. I'll go ahead and let my wonderful colleague, Dr. Becky Rouse, introduce herself.
David, we sure hope to see where you're from when you have a chance to check the chat box. You can see our beautiful pictures here. Dr. Wallace is trapped in another call, but he is the program director for the Homeland Security, the Emergency and Security Studies program, in which we have Homeland Security, Emergency Management, and Security Management, and I'm his associate director. You can see some of my credentials there, if you will. That's all I got.
All right, so a little bit about Tulane School of Professional Advancement. We do go by the acronym SOPA. Tulane was founded so many years ago as the Medical College of Louisiana back in the 1800s. It has evolved over time, especially with our specific department. And the main thing is that, through us being University College and then being the School of Continuing Studies and now the School of Professional Advancement, other known as SOPA, we have continued the same dedication that has been since over 130 years ago, which is committed to serving adult learners. So students who want to come to school after so many years for the first time after high school. We have students who come back and want career changes. And so we're really dedicated to making sure that our students who are lifelong learners receive all that they can in a really great environment from a really great university. And so that's exactly who we are. So why would you choose SOPA? So we have many different reasons. One being in that we are extremely flexible and affordable. I think that is first and foremost to understand. Yes, we are Tulane University, but we have a different tuition rate. So we make it way more affordable for our students. And the flexibility comes in when you have online classes as well as in-person classes to offer to our students. And so we know that many folks work during the day, some have families and other obligations. And so we really, really dedicate ourselves to being as flexible as possible while you are learning and earning your degree. We have really great top-notch programs, one that you're going to hear, a few that you're going to hear about today. And the faculty are industry faculty. They have experience. They understand what you guys are going through in terms of working and going to school and doing other things, because they're doing the same thing where they're teaching and working and doing everything like that. And so we have really great expert faculty on our staff. And again, you're getting a holistic approach to student support. So you'll have an academic advisor, you'll have your major advisor, which is your program director. So Dr. Rouse, Dr. Wallace, they will also be included in that support for you. And we also, we're giving you a Tulane degree. You're going to earn a Tulane degree, rather. And so that's the nice thing about being at SOPA. So a little bit more about that flexibility. Again, we are one of the leaders on campus in online learning. We, have our faculty go through in-depth, design courses to design the classes where, It's interactive. You have, it's not, boring. You're not logging into a platform and just reading material. You're actually getting real information from your professors. You'll have lecture notes, you'll have assignments and learning materials that you'll have access to throughout the semester. You'll be able to interactively participate and hear from your peers as well as your professor. You'll have, periodic Zoom sessions where you can actually see everyone as well, which is really nice. It gives you that real in-person feel. And you'll be exposed to guest speakers and others in the field that you're interested in to give you real world experience. So just to give you a little bit more about how it looks, and a lot of these numbers may not make sense, but when you think about it, we have a lot of students who complete a lot of hours online. If you think about how much you work, and maybe you're doing a lot of, you're checking your email how many times a day, you're checking social media so many times a day. Well, our students put in that same amount of effort into their coursework. So we have close to 1,400 students who complete more than 12,000 hours of coursework, over the last year. And what that means is that our students are taking more online classes than in-person classes because of the flexibility, but it gives them that in-person feel, so they're actually enjoying it and they're dedicated to it. And so that's why we have so many students completing these courses online and programs online. Again, we have an array of different degrees that we offer in an online format as well. And our courses are all developed and taught by our faculty. And I'll turn it over to Dr. Russ to give more in-depth information about the programs.
Okay, David, I noticed that you said you were interested in the security management certificate and possibly the Master's of Professional Studies. So this is great because I just happened to inherit a corporate security class this term. So I know even more about our program than maybe I did a year ago. And but I can tell you that the Homeland Security field, you're pretty aware, no doubt, that since 2001, with the attacks on the World Trade Center and the Pentagon and the rest of the country, if you will, that the establishment of Homeland Security was stood up as a not just an entity, but it truly became a professional academic field as well. What Tulane has determined, and wisely, of course, with tremendous vision, has built in the emergency management masters, but also the security management masters. And they're pretty few and far between, as you probably discovered as you're researching different programs across the country. It is not a field that has been identified yet by many universities as something that is in need of advanced education, especially for those folks who would like to be promotable within their fields, or enhance their capabilities and maybe even their certifications and their professional standards. So Homeland Security, in our case, we talk about Homeland Security as the umbrella under which these other fields fall, but they also stand alone. Emergency management is a standalone field, and security management is a standalone field. And in fact, thanks for moving that slide on. Because David is most interested in our security management field, can we just skip to, let's go to our next slide. There we go. Excellent. One thing, David, that I was just talking to Dr. Wallace, Mike Wallace, about last night, and I say talking, I sent him an email that I think we should really look at ways to pay for the certification that students will pursue. So for instance, if a master's candidate takes the exam and applies for the ACES certification, of which there are, I believe there's 4 different certifications you can pursue. If you pursue one of those, that we in our program, Emergency and Security Studies, with our budget, would reimburse you the fees for that. So we're talking about, it may be $200 to $400 that such a certification or certificate would cost, but it's an extra credential for you to have on your resume. And the credentials are as important to the employers as the master's. Oh, you have the CPP, so you already know, you know, and you know how wonderfully grueling all of that can be. But of course, they also have a couple of other options. Another thing I'd like to tell you about, and I am, of course, I am also skipping around. I'm stealing from our own slides. In the last Zoom session in the corporate security class, we had a guest speaker, and Amanda had mentioned earlier, guest speakers being brought into our classrooms, and it was the corporate security manager for Shell Oil, which is pretty tremendous. We are co-located right here in New Orleans, and Dr. Wallace has a especially impressive network of folks that he's willing to leverage or exploit for the betterment of our courses and for the enhancement of our students' experience. And so for Bo Black to have come in and spoken with the students and answered any questions we might have was what a great opportunity. But these are also the folks who teach for us in our classes. So you have that practical application. I know, again, I'm skipping through the slides, but you have the practical experience that folks bring to the classrooms, which, because you're already in the field, it sounds, most folks don't go get the certification without being in the field. You know folks, you know what their experience is, and then they're also qualified to teach you as well, so that you can get those credentials. Slide. Let's see. Yep. So you said that you were interested in, let me go back and look at the chat so we can make this personal for you. You had interest in the graduate certificate in security management. And I see it right there. And then possibly proceeding from there to the MPS in security management. I'm not sure if you had specific questions on the certificate or the degree. I will tell you that our security management master's program, we just changed it. We just got permission to make it a little bit more flexible for the students, so that there was a point when all of the courses required were prescribed, but now we've changed that from, we have 2 fewer required, and we've converted those to electives, so that the student who says, I want to do security management, but I'm really interested in, I don't know, maybe a public health course, or I want to take something over here in the Homeland Security, out of the Homeland Security courses or the emergency management courses. You have a little bit of a chance to tailor your degree in that respect. We also have the opportunity to tailor it even further with your capstone that you pursue, if you pursue the master's degree. But even in the certificate, if you come to Tulane and pursue the certificate, we do have the 4 prescribed classes. There are some options at times to substitute, especially if your background or your experience is very robust in something that you think, well, taking this class isn't going to necessarily add to my knowledge. You can negotiate that with Dr. Wallace. He's pretty open to that negotiation. We'll move on this slide. I keep ripping off our future slides. Yeah, if we can move on. Okay. Oh, did I go too fast? There we go. Because it looks like you have looked at some of our materials online, and you probably do know the kind of fields that folks work in security management. You may or may not already know that this is not a field where folks traditionally have advanced degrees in their field, because those advanced degrees have not existed for very long. The fact that they are emerging now, of course, we like to think that Tulane is a leader in such kind of educational opportunities, but from my experience, they truly are. And I only joined Tulane about 1.5 years ago, and I've taught for many universities. So it's not a case of me being biased. Even in my background in the military, in the Army, I will say that this was a field that was always neglected in terms of education and professionalization and adopting the capabilities and standards of the industry and incorporating those into the education. So those are the kind of things that we do. It does talk about here 1 elective that's actually expanded a bit, but that's really recent. That's like last week that got changed. And of course, it is the standard. Talking to a person who works in security management, we don't need to explain to you the difference between, say, physical security and personnel security or personal security. Okay. Here's an example of some of our faculty. We actually even have a tremendous number of impressive folks. I think we have probably 36 adjunct professors upon, from whom we draw our pool of adjuncts. And in fact, we're adding to that all of the time. When you go to our website, you'll be able to read the bios of those great citizens who contribute. I just mentioned to you Bo Black, who has taught for us the corporate security class. Our business continuity class is taught by a certified expert, and so on. And then, of course, then you also have great folks like Mike and Becky who teach you as well. Slide. Oh, this is one of the things that is one of my favorite things in terms of talking about our programs. When you're in the class and you're in the class with this, your classmate, well, your credentials may be the same, David, that one of your classmates may say, hey, I met David and it's amazing the things he's doing or the field he works in or the company that he works for. I know there are times we can't share as much because of the industries that we work in, but your classmate, one of them works for the FBI, one of them works for, in security for Shell Oil, one of them is an executive assistant with the White House. This is truly the class that I find myself teaching these amazing students. So the things you can learn from your classmates and the networks that you can build. We have a student who is just leaving the military, the Army, and he's interested in getting into the field. This is a corporate security class student who's earning the Master's of Professional Studies in Security Management. And he has recently made connections through one of his classmates and recently was offered a job in the field. So that's pretty tremendous. I mean, that to me is a bonus of taking classes alongside professionals in the field or folks who are interested in the field who are also building their own networks. The idea is, of course, to prepare folks to go and work in these industries. It's not only about self-actualization. We understand there are professional goals and priorities that the students have in the classes. Next. I think Amanda can talk to us about this.
So again, tying back to why SOPA is a great fit for so many of our students is because of the great holistic approach that we take to student support services. Like I said, we have advisors that work with you throughout your journey of being accepted to the university all the way through graduation. You have your program directors again, such as Dr. Rouse and Dr. Wallace. You also have faculty, just like Becky was just describing, faculty that we have and how their experience brings that real world aspect into their courses and how they teach the courses. We do have a career services department as well. And your faculty, as well as your program directors, and together with our career advisor, are really amazing and working together to help you through your process of if you want an intern or if you're looking for, getting your resume together, applying for jobs, and all of those different things. And lastly, another good thing is the network of peers that you have and the alumni connection that you'll have when you leave here. So applying is simple. It's very simple, actually. We have a great user-friendly online application that is available to you. So you will complete the application. Our graduate students complete an essay. And so the application fees are different $30 for undergraduate and $50 for graduate. But for attending today, since you are interested in our graduate programs, David, then your application fee will be waived once you apply to the program. Just make sure you have your ID ready to be uploaded and all of your transcripts ready to go as well. If you have some unofficial ones that we can use to kind of get things started, that would be great while we're waiting on your official transcripts to come in. And then the nicest is no requirement to be admitted to the graduate program. So there's no GRE requirements at all. So you still have time to apply for the spring. January 1st is that deadline. We do offer early enrollment scholarships as well. The deadline for the one for the spring was yesterday, unfortunately, but we do have them if you decide that you want to come for summer or next fall. Plenty of time to get that as well. Another thing is, it looks like you have some certifications. So if you do, you can kind of talk to us about what that experience is like, and you can, build a portfolio based on that experience and earn credit for classes. So if there's a class that you see where you feel that you need, experience for that specific class, then you can earn credit for that class by writing a portfolio. So that's really a great and affordable way to get your degree faster. So you can get up to 2 classes that way, which is really great. If you have any other trainings or anything like that, please, don't hesitate to talk to myself or Dr. Rouse or Dr. Wallace about that training so that we can help you figure out the best way to include that experience in your academics.
Amanda, could I ask you a question on this slide on behalf of David? The 6 credits that a person can earn, can that be applied toward a certificate or only to the master's?
Only to the master's degree. That is a great question. And we do accept also if you started a graduate program elsewhere and it's a university or program that we are articulated with, then we can evaluate up to 9 credits, so up to 3 classes to see if those are eligible for transfer. That's a little bit different than the credit for life experience because you can't mix, you can mix and mingle with those, but you can't do both, put it that way, and receive all of those credits. Financial assistance, if you qualify for financial aid by filling out a FAFSA, we do have different ways of getting financial assistance through that. There is a 20% discount if you are active military, if you're a veteran, or if you are a public safety personnel. We are a yellow ribbon program for eligible students who enroll in those master's degrees. We accept the Montgomery GI Bill, we accept the voc rehab, and we accept the survivors dependents educational assistance. We have someone on staff in the registrar's office that is our VA rep. And then in-house, we have a student support advisor as well. And she also works with our veteran students. So again, we're super affordable. Here's our tuition rate. So as of this fall right now, we're a little bit over $1,100 a credit. So for a 3 credit class, you're looking, a little bit over close to between $3,500 and $4,000. That does include minimal fees. Again, we have financial aid for those who qualify, depending on your circumstances, grants, loans, and whether or not you'll be using any type of military benefits as well. All right, so David, do you have any other questions for us?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I think I had some audio issues and I'm very, very sorry. I was actually on another call with an AirPod in my right ear that was supposed to end a half hour before this webinar. And so I was like listening to them, and it just finished right after the introductions where I talked about my CPP certification. I really appreciate the webinar. It was a lot of really good info and stuff that that I didn't pick up when I was looking at the website. I started an application to apply for the graduate certificate. You do apply for the graduate studies first, right? Is that how that works? You're applying for graduates, the graduate degree with the certification, or how does that work?
So there's some options there. You can, so when you're filling out the application, you are filling it out, the graduate application. And if you're interested in just a certificate, you can just fill out just that as your area of interest. But if you can apply to the graduate degree and earn the certificate as well. So it depends on you. I mean, the certificate leads into another certificate, which can be stackable to the master's degree. But you can also do one of the certificates, the initial one, and then go on to the master's degree. It just depends on your goals and what you're thinking about, and how interested you are to just getting in there and you're earning the degree like now, or if you wanted to just kind of test the waters a bit and start with just the certificate.
Right. Well, I certainly agree with Dr. Rouse. There's not a whole lot of options out there when it comes to graduate degrees in the security management field. And I mean, I love that Tulane offers this. When I have a 26-year career in law enforcement, I retired from Pennsylvania State Police in March. And now I'm a vice president of security for a cannabis consulting firm. But, in my job search over the summer, in order to looking for director of security positions, vice president of security positions, there are a lot of requirements for master's or PhD level. And my question is, in what? Because there's not a whole lot out there, right? So what do you want? You want an MBA? Okay, well, how does that apply to, well, I guess it could in a business field, but for something that is more related to a physical security field where I'm at right now, this is the perfect fit, and there really aren't a whole lot of options out there. Now it's been almost 30 years since I've been in college, so when I first took a look at this, it's okay. Well, do I test the waters by taking a couple credits and going into the certification first, or do I go full speed and go right for the master's degree? And so is there a minimum amount of credits that I would have to take if I were to get into the spring for either one?
Are you asking if you can take just one class and give it a try?
Right, one or like two classes, or do I have to go full boat, 3-4 classes, or?
No, you can take, so the biggest thing is, how are you paying? Like, are you trying to do like financial aid? Are you using benefits? Or if you're paying out of pocket, will make a difference sort of in that answer. Because if you are, trying to get financial aid, which is different at the graduate level than it is at the undergraduate level. So it's a different pool of, so,
I would be paying with cash. I mean, that would be
okay,
coming out of my pocket, right?
So if you're doing that, then yeah, you can take just one class if you want.
And you're entitled to the 20% discount because of your status as a public service.
Yeah, which I didn't know that either. So that's certainly great info too. So
that's a great tuition rate for 800 and some bucks per credit. Yeah,
that's fantastic. Yeah, seriously, that's excellent.
Hey, David, we're also working on a certificate. Mike is working on a physical security certificate. It's not quite built, but we would love to hear thoughts on what kind of things we would include in that.
Okay. So in terms of value for me, and boosting my resume, so is it better for me to pursue the master's but also attain these certificates, so it's more that I've got on my resume as I move along, or do I just go straight for the master's degree?
So yeah, I mean, again, it really just depends on, and I don't know, Becky might have a better answer. But if, obviously once you start the program, you're going to put that as your education and, add that on for your education. But when you're learning and taking specific classes, some of the classes, and I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, Becky, I might be thinking about one of the different one. I don't know if I'm thinking about Homeland Security or if I'm thinking about management, but I believe there are some of the programs and classes that are within the programs that sometimes offer like an option for additional certifications, different projects that you work on. Those are things that you can add to your resume as adding to your skills.
That sounds good. Like I said, I've already started the application. I have yet to to complete the essay and get the official transcripts, but those will be on their way soon. So hopefully all works well, and I'll be seeing your face and hearing from you, and you hearing from me in the near future.
Absolutely. And I think Becky put her email.
Yep, I see that
in there. I'm going to put mine as well. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out and let me know.
I appreciate it. Thanks very much.
You're welcome. Have a great day.
You too. Thanks.